Okay, skin level. So this 4 levels of protection. The important thing is that once we have identified what type of protection that we are going, okay, we have to make sure that which protection is actually important for us, and based on that, which equipment we are going to use. So level A extreme, level B second highest level, level third lowest, third highest level, and then the lowest level of protection is level D. So in the examination, they can ask you about the level of protection. Now moving on, okay, we'll discuss about the equipment. Okay. the, for the respiration, we have different equipment that is available. Okay, one is the self-contained breathing apparatus. SCBA. What is SCBA? Self-contained breathing apparatus. Usually we have cylinders, right? Mask that is attached towards the firefighter, and the oxygen supply is usually there, right? But it has a limitation. Means once your oxygen is finished, you have to leave that area and you have to attach a new cylinder to it, right? So it has a limitation. Means that you have a time limit for that to be used. That is a self-contained breathing apparatus. Okay. Then we have closed loop. Okay, closed circuit SCBA. Okay. Now what happens? What we were discussing in the SCBA was that a person, okay, he's carrying multiple cylinders available with him. Okay, he's carrying it, and these cylinders are providing, okay, fresh oxygen to the mask itself, right? It's providing fresh oxygen. But now once the cylinder empties, it's over. Okay. But now what happens in the closed circuit one? In the closed circuit one, whatever the air that is being exhaled, the air that we are exhaling, okay, that air, okay, is being sent to the compressor, purified, and again supplied. So what happens? Now I can breathe for a longer time, right? Whatever I'm exhaling, that will be taken from a separate, okay, and it will go back, purified, compressed, and then again it will be delivered to me. So it's a closed circuit one. So this circuit continues, so I can breathe for a longer time, okay, in an area. Okay, so that is the closed circuit SCBM. Okay, then we have a powered purifying air respirators. Okay. Okay, so powered air purifying respirators. Now these ones, okay, powered air purifying respirators, they are usually kind of the person is usually the person is usually provided with a respirator with an air compressor. Okay, and this line is continuously attached to it. Okay, now what happens is that, okay, with the power respirator, they have a on the head they have a fan, okay, that uses the air, purifies it, compresses it, sends it back to the mask itself. Now this type of power purifying air respirators, they have a limitation, because usually they are attached with the pipe for the compressed air can be traveled, so they have a limitation of the length. Okay, the maximum distance that they can travel is usually limited. Okay, so for that purpose, if they want to exceed the distance, okay, then the pipe should also be, or the attached equipment should also be a much more longer. So based on that, it's usually provided in that way. So it has a distance limitation that you have to use up to a specific distance. Okay, and then we have particulate respirators. Particulate, like particles, okay? Dust particles, okay? Because gases and vapors, they are not considered particles. Particles like dust particles, like coal dust, fiber, textile, you have fiber dust, okay? Wood dust. So these are particulate respirators. So they have multiple filters that are attached. So they don't allow a specific size dust to accumulate, to travel towards the human respiration. Okay, the mask has multiple filters that can only allow, okay, air to travel rather than any particulates. So there are filters that accumulate on that on the outside of the mask. They don't allow, like for example, anything greater than 80 90 microns, it will not allow to travel. 15 to 10 microns, it will allow to travel. So they are particulate respirators. They protect against particulates. Okay, so these are some important this one equipment for the respiration. Okay, self-contained, closed circuit, self-contained. They can define any of the respiration. Okay, so some have like PAPR. They have like movement restrictions. They cannot be moved. Okay, inline purifying air respirator. They are have restrictions. Closed circuit one for a longer time. Okay, you can breathe. Self-contained one depends upon the oxygen availability. Okay, so particulate respirators, so in those areas where we have dust accumulation. Okay, so they can ask the question in such a way that what type of an equipment can be used in those areas where we have dust particles, coal particles, okay, something like that. Which equipment will be best for the respiration? So for the respiration, the best equipment among these will be the particulate respirators. Okay. Then we have the clothing. Let's see what are the different types of clothing that are available. So we have chemical protective clothing. Yeah. Second, any type of liquid splash. Then we have temperature, high temperature clothing. High temperature clothing, usually high temperature is classified. Temperature is usually classified at a higher temperature whenever the temperature is 163 degrees Celsius or greater. It's classified as high temperature. Okay, 163 degrees Celsius or greater is classified as high temperature clothing. High temperature, so the clothing based on that temperature rating. Okay, so if 163 degrees Celsius or above, which classification of clothing I'll be using? Yes. If I want to use a high temperature clothing, 163 degrees Celsius or greater, which temperature classification of clothing I'll be using? We discussed 4 classes, right? Which classification? High temperature clothing, 163 degrees Celsius or greater comes in. Yes. 92 to 51, right? Which one was that one? Class 3. Class 1 was 40 degrees Celsius. Class 2 was 42, 90, 95. Then 92 again 250 is class 3. So it means that if I'm going to use any type of clothing, that will be high temperature clothing will be class 3. Okay, so like this, the clothing is usually identified at high temperature. So yes, class 3 has already defined itself. Okay, so like this, when we know the clothing, we know the classification, and based on that, we can make the orders based on the productions, right? So chemical protective clothing used in hazardous areas. Okay, now whenever there's an hazmat incident, okay, we have discussed in the information analysis also, we have hazmat modules, hazardous materials modules. So whenever you're going for that type of inspections, of course, the chemicals may be very corrosive, may be very toxic, may be reactive, okay, and we have discussed in storage and handling of chemicals also, there are air reactive chemicals, water reactive chemicals, okay, and these chemicals can be so toxic that it can directly affect the lungs also. Toxicity is up to that much level. So for that purpose, they need when the firefighters are going to contain it in the special services vehicle, okay, they need a specific clothing, okay, and that clothing guidelines is usually provided by the organization, the industry that is handling it, right? So that is why, if you remember, in the storage and handling of material, we discussed that hazard identification mark is very important. It provides us the information what type of a chemical is being stored, and based on that chemical, which type of clothing is going to be much more effective. Some chemicals are so much dangerous that they may have a flash point at a very quicker rate, as lower as 22.8 and even much less than that. So a single ignition or a splashing can always be a type of a incident that could occur. So that's a liquid splashing. Okay, if any type of a liquid splash, okay, and it is not necessarily that we are talking about a liquid splash, meaning that it's going to come out from a container because of the pressure. Some liquids, okay, they boil at such a lower temperature that they tends to create bubbles, and then even the bubbles, when they a blast of splashes are usually generated. Okay, so sometimes operations are done at a specific rate, but the liquid that they are interacting there at a specific distance is a type of a liquid which can create splashes. Okay, and this splashing is not only based on only liquid, it could be molten metal also. Splashes could be there. Okay, so for that purpose, you have to identify what type of a equipment is usually required to make an entry. Okay, then high temperature, and then the entry suit is usually the normally type of a suit that the firefighters are using to make an entry. Okay, but the critical questions that in the CFS examination will be based on the first three ones. Okay, they're going to twist the questions in this regard. Okay, so they will use any type of clothing. Okay, and they will just eventually they will bring you back on the temperature, and they will may ask you about a classification, or they may provide you a classification, and they may ask you about a range. In box base, they may be something like that. So we have been doing some questions on like 70 questions, and we will do 100 questions also. So what we were doing in those questions, we were going to the base. Okay, there were stories all around it, but the question on the base is the same, right? So we have to extract that question from there, and then we have to solve the question. Okay. Okay, now what are the, based on the clothing, okay, whenever the rescue operations are done, okay, how the hazmat incidents are usually classified. Okay, so we have to discuss what are the different classifications of hazardous materials. Okay. Hazardous materials in the rescue operations are usually classified into 8 classifications. Okay. Class 1 of hazardous materials are any type of materials that are explosive and blasting agents. Okay, they are explosive and blasting agents. Any type of hazardous material that has the capability to provide an explosive or any type of blasting agents, they are considered to be class 1 of hazardous materials. Okay, so it means that if a class 1 material is being stored, the confinement, the containment will also be as per the fire resistant material, like type 1 construction, right? So everything changes. So it comes back to the same point. If I know the material, I know what I'm going to do it for it, right? So the first thing is that what I'm going to contain. If the material is hazardous, like any type of a chemical, any type of an mixture of multiple materials, okay, so if it's going to give an explosive, so I know that how I have to contain it. So characteristics of the material itself. Okay, then the class 2 comes. Class 2 type of hazardous materials are usually gases. Okay, some gases that are flammable gases, some gases may be combustible gases, some gases are so much toxic that it may create unconsciousness. Okay, it may create unconsciousness. Okay. So that is why some gases, when a person is inhaling, he may have a blurry vision, unconscious, and he may fall down. Okay, so gases can be categorized as class 2. Class 3 are flammable liquids, and we have discussed that. That's class 3. We have discussed that flammable liquids are anything that have a temperature flash point 22.8 degrees Celsius or lower, right? Class 4 type of hazardous materials are flammable solids. They are categorized as flammable solids or any type of reactive solids. Okay. In other words, we can also say reactive metals. Okay. So any type of reactive solid, okay, in hazardous material can be considered to be a class 4. So now in the solids, if you are saying flammable solids or reactive solids, these reactive or flammable solids, okay, they can be self-reactive or they may require other component to start a reaction process. Okay, so in both cases, they are usually classified as class 4. Okay. We have class 5, okay, that is oxidizers. And peroxides. Okay. Oxidizers and peroxides we have discussed in section 7, storage and handling of material. That oxidizers and peroxides, they are those chemicals that can provide vigorous reaction when they are with water. Okay, like nitrate is an oxidizer. Okay, nitrate, nitrite, sodium nitrate, potassium nitrate, aluminum nitrate, so they are oxidizers. Okay, peroxides, okay, they are oxidizers. So what they tend to do, they tend to give vigorous reactions whenever they react with water. Class 6 is any type of toxic or poisonous materials. Any type of toxic or poisonous materials, okay, substances. Poisonous up to an extent, like any type of injection, absorption in a human body that can make a deadly type of a situation which can lead towards that. So any type of poisonous substance, okay, that is classified as class 6. So we were saying that there are some materials that once they undergo combustion, okay, one is that the physical nature changes and one are the byproducts. So byproducts may be quite toxic and poisonous. We have been discussing from start. So various chemicals are also under the same. Under the pyrolysis stage, various chemicals may have a physical nature that is being degraded, but the byproducts may be quite poisonous, okay, which may affect, which may be quite deadly, okay. Then we have class 7, radioactive materials. Class 7 is categorized as radioactive materials, okay. So, class 7 is categorized as radioactive materials, okay. Now radioactive materials, whenever you want to decompose a radioactive material, okay, the best is to send to the manufacturer that is actually he should have the capability to neutralize it. Okay, so radioactive materials are considered to be class 7. Okay, then we have we have class 8. Okay, class 8 are any type of corrosive materials. Any type of corrosive materials that can provide corrosion, and we have discussed this, okay, that any type of material that has the capability to provide any corrosion means it can affect any compartments, any containers can be affected. So corrosive materials, okay, and corrosive materials cannot, we have to be taken care whenever they are being distributed from pipings also, because piping corrosion is there, pipe will not be able to withstand pressure, eventually blasting or leakage from the pipe will be there. So these are the major classifications of the hazardous material incidents, but there may be some other which may not come into this category. So we just use sometimes we just use class 9 as any other materials which are unknown, okay, like miscellaneous materials. Any miscellaneous materials, okay, that are hazardous can come in class 9, okay, which may be unknown. So it can be considered to be a class 9. So how they are going to give this one in the examination? In the examination, they will provide you images. Okay. and each and every image will have its own identification available there. Okay, so the projector is not here, so I'll just show you the images how they're going to provide you in the examination, and based on that you can see that what will be the just a second. Let me share your screen here. Okay, okay. Okay, yeah, here we can come here at the screen. Okay, so these are the images. You can come here. Okay. So they can actually provide you any of the image. Okay. Yeah, I can make it like this also, right? Okay. So in the examination, they are going to provide something like this. Okay. And they will ask you that which classification. Like now, this is for the radioactive signals. Okay. Now the up one is for the blasting agents. Okay. Now these are oxidizers. Okay. So they will not provide you the names there. They will just provide you the symbol. So one or two questions will be coming from the image itself. They will just describe, send you an image, and they will ask you which classification it lies on. Okay. So this you will get from section 13. Fire rescue. Yes, section 13. Fire rescue operations. Okay. This images. Yes, I will give you the notes. The notes are here. So you will highlight section 13, okay, hazmat incidents. The chapter, the specific topic is hazardous material incidents. There all this classification is given. And the images are only given. So you will be given. Yes, yes, this all comes under the section 13 for whatever we have discussed in section 13. This all comes under section 13, okay? Starting from EPA, US Environmental Protection Agency, class level A, B, C, D. Okay, level A protection. This all comes under section 13. Okay. No, we are not like emergency medical services. Okay, organizing fire rescue operation, EMS, emergency medical services. Yes, because fire rescue does not only mean that you have to only provide contain the fire incidents. You have to make sure you have provided emergency medical services also. So all this contribute together to be the part of section 13 for the rescue operation. So okay. So whenever a rescue operation is being conducted, okay, the most important thing about performing a rescue operation is the planning response. Okay. And what do we mean by planning the response? Meaning, first of all, we have to make sure what are the objectives that we want to achieve. For example, if a person is, a lot of people are trapped, a community, a society is trapped in flooding. Okay, what are the objectives? Okay, the objective is not to deal with the hazard. The objective is to life safety of the occupants. How they have to be rescued. That are the objectives. The response objectives have to be very clear. Okay, and making sure that whatever the objectives they are completing, it should have a positive response on the outcomes. Okay, your objective should have a positive response on the outcome. The outcomes may change under some circumstances, but you have to make sure the minimum damage that you can incur during performing rescue operations. Usually, let's say that if an helicopter rescue operation is very effective, okay, up to that point where you can extract people, but if you have too much overhead transmission lines, okay, then you will not risk of using a helicopter. Why? Because the outcome there is going to result in much more damages than the rescue operations itself. So you have to make sure your outcomes are always kept in the minimum operations. Okay. Then third important thing is that identify the PPE that we will be using for the specific task that is being assigned for a specific objective. Okay. And what is the appropriate decontamination if required should be done for the equipment that you are going to use. Okay. So usually whenever the PPE is being provided to us, okay, we have to make sure it is well decontaminated. You don't want to contaminate other people. Okay. And in the end, you have the plan of action. A plan of action means that how the entry has to be made. Okay. Plan of action indicates how the entry has to be made and how the people have to be rescued. Okay, so that is the plan of action. How many people will be involved, from where they have to make an entry. Okay, what will be the assistance that will be given to them, what external assistance will be required. So that all is a part of plan of action. So EMS, emergency medical services, and fire department, they both work together, okay, to make sure the rescue operations are being completed accordingly. Okay, EMS and fire department, they both work together in the rescue operations. And that is why EMS has various different types of stages or levels that is available with them. The first level of EMS is basic life support. Either in case of emergency or non-emergency. Okay. The basic life support services, these EMS vehicles, they only transport person from one area, from affected, and deliver it to the hospital or other medical services. Okay, so that is the basic purpose of them. If they want to do any type of injury, if minor injuries are there, scratches or something, they want to clean it, that's it, they can do it. And the major purpose is that they have to deliver the person from one location to the other location into the medical facility. That is the basic life support. Then we have the second level of EMS, that is the advanced life support. Okay, now what is the advanced life support? Means a person has the capability of providing basic life support, cleaning scratches, plus as well as he may have paramedic training also. And appropriate certification for it, paramedic training and appropriate certification. Okay, like for example, if you want to make any type of invasive procedures, he'll be able to do it. Sometimes what happens, let's say that an incident has occurred, a type of a glass has been inserted, so he has to make an injection, okay, invasive procedure to remove that glass. Okay, and it's going to be very critical. So during the traveling, okay, so that's an advanced life support. So he'll be able to do the invasive procedure, at least one invasive procedure he is able to do. That is the advanced life support. Okay, so he also have paramedic training plus one invasive procedure. Then we have the critical care transport. Or critical care support. Okay. So critical care support usually is used in those type of facilities where any type of air ambulance is used. Okay, means usually it comes in air ambulance, wherever you have to deliver the patient. In VVIP, patient you have to deliver to a medical facilities. So they have all the support that is available. Paramedic training. Invasive procedure may not be one; it may be more than one invasive procedures that they can perform. And they may not use any type of transportation, means by road. They may use any type of air ambulance to provide critical support. All the support, training and certification, okay, will be based on the NFPA 450 guidelines. EMS NFPA 450 guidelines. NFPA codes will be there in the examination. We'll see in the index. Okay, in the index N section, In the index N section, we will find all the NFP codes. If a question comes from the NFP codes, just directly go to N section of the index. All codes are there, NFP1 to NFP5000. All the codes are mentioned there. Okay, so you can use that one to answer these questions. Okay, so that is for the emergency medical services. Okay, now each and every support, basic support, advanced support, or critical support, they all have their own training and certification based on the local authority, local certification bodies. Okay, now these bodies, they may tend to provide, okay, you have to go to a specific training. Like here in UAE, if you want to do any type of a work or task, you have to have a specific training, exam, qualified, then only you can perform the task. Similarly, in EMS also, okay, wherever they have to go to specific training, exam, certification is there, and then only they can perform, with experience they can perform certain operations. Okay, so these are for section 13, organizing fire rescue operations. Collaborating with section 12, it is 5% of the examination. Okay, when you will go to the book, you will find other topics also that are available, that are actually in one chapter there are multiple topics available, but those all are theoretical topics. Okay, they don't have any specific amount of data. Basic extraction will be these points. Okay, out of what the points that you are going to extract from there will be these points that we have discussed here. Okay. Okay. Regarding the index, okay, we'll okay. Okay. Uh, I'll just show you how the index is going to be appearing. Okay, so based on that, we'll see that how we can. I highlighted multiple points in the index. Okay, yeah. Screen is working. Okay, so what we are going to do here is, okay, we have discussed multiple things that I wanted to show you about section 1 of the fire protection handbook. Okay, so let me first go to the section 1. Okay, now this section 1, okay, you can see that as we have discussed about the significant risk and the risk details. Okay, we'll go down, you'll see here that majorly when we were discussing about harms that are available, okay, like falls. Now you can see here, and this is one of the survey tracking US fire that's based on NFPA survey. So they may ask you that in which year has the highest number of deaths. Okay, so based on death certification coding or structure file, so total number of deaths you can see here. So which year has the highest number? 2001 has the highest number of deaths. So like this, you have to extract the data from there. Okay, now if you go down, electric shock, law of property loss to fire, you can see a various amount of tables are available. Okay, burns, electric shock, gas explosion, okay, explosion of gas cylinder, explosion of boiler, how many people there. So a lot of information like this is available. So whenever this question comes, they are considered to be time consuming questions, right? When you're talking about falls, okay, so there is a specific table on falls. Falls from ladder, scaffolding, fall from ladder, falls on or from scaffolding itself only. So the total number of deaths. And based on that, you will see that it's all available here. But again, the problem is that you have to extract the right information. So a lot of tables, and it's not only based on false, it's based on everything. It's based on natural disasters also. If you go natural disasters, earthquakes, okay, you can see here down. Now, deadliest US earthquakes of all time. These are the ones, okay? And they may ask in the examination about the world's deadliest earthquakes on record. So China, 8 magnitude, okay? Estimated number of deaths, 830,000. Okay, so this is one of the deadliest earthquake that based on the number of deaths, okay? So see, now Indonesia had higher magnitude, okay, but the death is far more less. So deadliest is China, okay? So usually if they are asking you about based on the Richter scale magnitude, okay, then the Indonesia was 9. But if they're asking you about the deadliest one, okay, then it's China, okay? So the information here, you have to, first of all, you have to be very careful with the question what they're asking, and based on that, you have to answer the question, okay? Now, each and every landslides, world's deadliest landslides, okay? So like this, there are different types of tables that are available in all this chapter only. So there are too many tables. If a question comes from regarding the natural disasters, okay, regarding any survey, okay, you have to come to section 1 and chapter 1. You will find it there, the answer from the tables itself. Okay. Now the question comes about the index. Okay, the index is very important. Why? Because eventually, if we are even familiar with the topics also, still we have to make sure that what are the key points that we need to highlight. Okay, so you have to highlight the index also. So let's say I go to my index. Okay. Now in the index, I was saying that in the N code, okay, we will find all the NFPA codes. So NFPA questions, whatever the NFPA question comes, you don't have to worry about that one, about the codes. Okay, it's very easy. You just go to the N section. Okay, from NFPA 1. Okay, the code starts, and NFPA 10, 11, 12, all these codes are there for NFPA. Okay, any question related towards the code, you can find it directly from here. Okay, either they will directly say that NFPA 31 stands for what, or simply they will say that standard for oil burning equipment is, and they will give you 4 NFPA codes. So you can use those 4 NFPA codes and find out the right answer. Okay, so like this NFPA, any code related question, it can be solved directly from the index, and N section you will go, and NFPA you can find it out. So if you're going to tab the books, okay, if you're going to tab the books, just make an N tab with you, so that you will know that NFPA codes, any question, 2-3 questions will be there from NFPA codes. So directly go and solve those questions. Okay. Now now we come towards the highlighting. Okay. Okay. Now there are some certain points that you some certain punch words that you need to highlight. Okay. Now I have done some highlighting as a type of an index. Okay, let me just go to the A section. Some important points that I have found out just for as a sample. Okay, I have highlighted it, so it becomes easy for you to identify that answer, because there are so many topics that are available, so it is difficult to find out the right point. Like for example, somewhere the Lewis sprinkler system, I have highlighted it. Okay, now a Department of Transportation, I have highlighted it. Okay, so now if I'm going into the D section, I don't know where the Department of Transportation or the sprinkler system is there. In between, it's hidden. You can see some capital, some smaller. So everything is mixed up. So it helps you in highlighting it. Like the punch words that we have studied. Okay, you can find out those words, highlight those words. Okay, like if I'll go a little bit up, maybe in A, I have done a little bit more highlighting. Like today we were discussing about a concrete, right? So you can see here in concrete, what type of concrete you are looking for. Now there are multiple references that are available here. Fire behavior, lightweight, concrete, planters. Okay. So I know my section has an answer in 19th section regarding the concrete as a fire barrier, right? So I will take the exact information from here, right? So if I'll highlight the index, I will know which section I am going towards, right? Got the point, right? Now this concrete planters, it's in 14th 123 page. Okay. So the information I'm looking, I will not find it there, right? So that is why there are some, you have to highlight this one accordingly. And now if I'll go up, so highlighting is also one of the most important part of the index. So it will help you in identifying this section, blow off caps, sprinklers. Now I'll be thinking, if are asking me in the examination that ultra high speed water spray systems, okay, what should be the section pressure for the blow off caps? So now where I will go? I know it is from section 16. Okay, if I know it is ultra high speed water spray system, it is very easy for me. I will go to section 16, chapter 7. I will go there. I will find it out there. But if I don't know that, I will come back to the index. In index, I will go to the sprinklers. Sprinklers, I will not find blow off caps. Yeah, so I will highlight it here. Okay, so it becomes easy for me in the examination. So similarly, there are certain codes that are available, certain points, certain important points that you want to highlight. You can usually highlight it. Okay, like air conditioning we have discussed, right? Air conditioning systems. In which section we have discussed? 10. Section 10, building services. So all this is available in section 10. All the references are there from section 10. So I just highlight it. So it becomes easy for me to identify the topics, right? So among all this, I will go for the highlighted ones. Okay. So index highlighting is also important. And what you have to highlight is you have to highlight the topic, the content with the exact section where you have studied. Okay, if you are highlighting concrete and you are highlighting 14th section, it's not going to help you. Section 19 we have discussed about a concrete, right? It has low thermal capability, moisture is accumulation, so that's why we use pre-stressed concrete or reinforced concrete. Everything, this all information is in section 19, structural elements. Okay, so like this you have to highlight each and every punch word. Okay, now section 2, if I go, okay, how the book has to be highlighted. Book highlighting is also again our major part. Maybe we have discussed this one, like if I go to basics of ion science, okay, I've done some sample highlighting. So you can see now this all section, this all is like a description. Okay, if you go down, whatever is in the notes I highlighted, this is the definition. Now all this you don't need to study. This is not part of exam, so no need to waste any formulas. You don't need to study. Highlight the basic parts. Okay, whatever is available. No need to study the whole complete details. Okay, you highlight whatever is important. Definition. Yes. So now you will see here the major of the data is not actually part of the examination, so you don't have to indulge yourself. So that's why I was saying that once you know the syllabus, the first thing is highlighting. Once you get the notes, you highlight the book. Once your highlighting is done, then you can prepare it for the exam. Okay? Unless you will not highlight it, you will never know the syllabus. If you want to study, it's good. I mean, examples are good, very good examples are there, and they have described it in complete detail. But for the examination purpose, sometimes the data is too much lengthy that you lose your interest. You want to just stay on the point. So for that purpose, you simply do highlighting. I see no need for all these examples, derivations. They are not part of the examination, so they are not highlighted. Okay, so like this, you have to highlight the book itself also. Now there is one exam, okay, that we have to discuss. Okay, that we'll be discussing depending once we have done your revision. Okay, we'll take 100 questions. Okay, and we will do that discussion. Okay, just a second. Okay. Okay, the mock CFPS. Okay, yeah. Okay, then mock. Yes, sample test is mock. Okay, now these are some 100 questions that we have to discuss. Okay, and these questions we will discuss when you have already done your preparation. Means you have taken the revision, and based on that we will try to solve these questions. Okay. Now it depends whether we will do it next week, okay, or we'll take a week off, or we'll do it on the upper week. Okay, whenever you are ready, that we have to discuss these questions, we will go live. As we have been discussing about mock 70 questions, we will try to solve these mock 100 questions also. Okay, and after that you will also get mock examinations, various mock examinations that are available with us. Okay, practice exams, 3 types of practice exams are also available. So these practice exams you will be getting it out from various different suppliers, like 230 questions are here. Okay, and if you go then we have another questions. Okay, something 100 questions here, and then we have one of the old examination based on all syllabus. Okay, so that is also available with us. That is also 100 questions. So these are also 100 questions. Now this is your examination platform. When you're going to appear for the exam, this is how the platform is going to look like. Okay. Means on the left side, on the right side, if you'll see, your 1 to 10 questions are where your 1 to 100 questions will be available here. Okay. Now, the question that you have solved is answered. Answered question, okay, you will see that it will be converted to gray color. Okay. Unanswered ones will be white. Okay. So no need to stick to one question. You see the question is answerable. Okay. Answer it, move to the next, move to the next. Not answerable, no problem. Skip it. Don't waste your time. Review your 1 to 100 all the questions. Okay. And if usually they provide with one paper and pencil also. If you're reading question number 2, section 4, right? Question 2, section 4. Move on towards the next question. So question 3, section 14. Like this, in your review, whatever the questions here, now you know that okay, question 2 was section 2. Okay, question 14 is section 2. Question 74 is section 2. You know that in section 2 I will find answer for these 3 questions. So I can directly go to that specific question and I can answer those questions. Okay, so reference making is also very helpful for you. That is why I was saying that you should be familiar with section at least this question is coming. So when you are opening section 14, no need to go to 5 other sections and then come back to section 14. When you open section 14, you solve whatever questions that are there in section 14, solve those questions. Right? So it will save more time for you. Okay. So now this is the platform. For 1 to 100 questions are available. Okay. Each question which you are going to answer will be gray. Other questions will be white. So whenever you want to come back, you can directly click on that question. You can come back. From there, you will know from 1 to 100 questions how many you have solved closed book. Okay. It will take you 20-25 minutes to review the first 100 questions. Okay. In those 25 minutes, that is your target. How many questions you can solve closed book. Okay. Whatever you can solve, the maximum you can solve, the maximum chances you are going to pass the exam. Okay. Because then 2.5 hours. So let's say if in 20-25 minutes, if you are able to solve even 20-25 questions, you have 2.5 hours to just solve 45 questions. So to go towards the passing marks. So your passing chances are always higher. Okay. So that is why we had that type of approach, that we are going to go for a descriptive one. In that way, whatever we can solve closed book, we will solve. And whichever is left behind, no problem. In the NFP examination, remember one thing. There will be questions that will break your confidence. 5 to 10 consecutive questions will be there, which will be from survey. Okay. Which will be from any other tables. Okay. Which you may not know. If you may know also, but you are saying, okay, I will come back. But once you leave 5-10 consecutive questions, right, you will lose your confidence. Usually happens. Don't lose it. Okay, why? Because whatever the percentage NFP has given, that percentage is going to come in the exam. If they are saying 20% of water base, to 20% water base is there. Okay, if they're saying 10% from basics of fire and science, 10% will be there. Okay, so don't lose that confidence. Okay, leave those questions. Even if it's 10 questions, leave it, no problem. Because you need 70% to pass the exam. Okay, so if you'll just waste 5 questions, you have skipped 6 questions. No, let me at least solve this one. So you waste time there. Okay, so whatever you can solve in the first 100 reviews, solve those. Then come back, no problem. Okay, then you will know from which section multiple questions are there. Now, there is one more important thing also, bookmark. You can see yellow. If you bookmark a question, it could be a yellow one. Okay, so you can bookmark it. Okay, and once you bookmark it, you can make a comment on this question also. Okay, if anything you feel like the question is not suitable or it's not clear, you can always bookmark it and you can make a comment that okay, this question is not clear, it's not providing the same instructions. Okay, it's confusing, something like that. You can do that. Okay, usually the questions are straightforward. Okay, they play with words, manipulate words, but the questions are straightforward. Okay, you can bookmark it. Okay, now bookmarking also helps you. Like for example, you know that your highest percentage section is water-based suppression systems, right? So you want to make sure that whenever a question comes from sprinklers, systems, water supply requirements, okay, MICs, any question comes from that section, I need to, at least if I don't know answer, no problem, let me bookmark it. Okay, so now you will bookmark it. Okay, so like this you will get an indication, okay, that 10-15 questions are from section 16, 15 combined. So I will just open it. I will quickly solve all these questions. So you open the book, you take the reference to, you go to 20, you go to 40, whatever the questions, directly solve them from there. Okay, so that is also one of the techniques that you can use it, okay, to solve these questions. Okay? So bookmarking can be also used. You can bookmark multiple questions. Okay, so this is how the platform is going to be. Unless you don't finish or end the exam will not be ended. Okay, you can skip it around, you can play it around, and this is the time on the top right corner. It's always providing you like how much time is left. Remember that your review, your practice in the CFPS examination is that your review should be within 20-25 minutes, like 100 questions. That is your practice. Don't waste much more time on one question. If one question you have no idea, no problem, don't waste it. Other question, if you have idea, better to invest time on that, because then you know the reference, you know the section, you will find the right answer. Okay, so these questions which are from tables, surveys, and any type of theoretical questions which are giving you challenges, keep them in the last, no problem. Okay, in the last till you will have enough time. By my experience, I'm telling you, you will have enough time if you follow the same guidelines. Okay, so all in all, this is going to be your platform for the exam. Okay. Hmm? Model exam, mock exams, the one that we are discussing, that are the only one. Yeah, software based exams are actually there, but I don't think so they have software based exams. No, means there are software that can provide you challenges in solving the exam. I don't think so they have it here. Yeah. There will be questions. I'm not saying that, when you will start study, there will be questions. So there are sessions also going on continuously. So if you want to, if you want to again come back, rejoin, you can always contact us. Sunday, there is one session going on now, and morning. Yes, 8:30 to 12. There is one session going on tomorrow. 8:30 to 12. Any other days no. Only for timing I had Saturday, and now I have Saturday and Sunday. Now Sunday there is session that is going on. I think so we have like completed 3 or 4 lectures, so we are in the middle. Yeah, no issues. You can you can join anytime. You can just ask the institute; they'll provide you the access. Okay, any questions? For the time being, there will be questions in PJ. So we are in the group. We'll be discussing that. Okay. If you have any questions regarding exams, any questions regarding syllabus, you can always post it in a group and we can discuss it through coordinator, of course. We will discuss it. Okay. Yeah, we can request them. Yeah, they will open it up. We can request them that we want to, like, we have any queries, we have any questions. Okay. Yeah, that depends. I mean, you can just, I will just inform the coordinator that we have one session for mock examination live is pending. Okay. So whenever you people decide, means in the group you can decide, she will ask and you can decide which, if you want to do next week, you want to skip the next week, you want to prepare, revise, and you want to come on the upper week, that depends on you. So once we are ready, we will do that session. Okay. We'll have the same session as we were doing in 70. We have a live discussion, break questions, answer the right answer. Okay. Same like that. We will do it. Okay. Okay, guys, let's stop the recording here.